Hi, welcome back everyone to part 7 of our playlist for making a browser-based game based on the classic Deuteros. Some of you may know it when it was originally out, some may have picked it up since, but it was a game that it was a bit different from the run-of-the-mill because it was more just it was very much a strategy game with little actual animation. It was more just to do with strategy and planning and resource management, and I liked it. It's my kind of game. So this video playlist is actually trying to recreate a multiplayer version. So we're now on part 7. Up to part 6 we've managed to install some dependencies, create some models and migrations, and now we can get stuck in a little bit more into the user interface. So let's get started. Okay, so as you saw in the last video, you will remember that we got this registration page up in Vue. Now it was just purely a bare bones file just to show that we could get it working, because we are using a framework called Inertia.js, which is doing a bit of the boilerplate work in tying in the Laravel root system and obviously the logic backend to Vue files for the front end. So that's what we're using, which means we have to create these separate Vue files for each of the different pages that we're using. So we've successfully created this registration page, but now we obviously need to make this functional. Now I have just like a piece of HTML here that we're just going to use. I'm just going to paste it in there. Now pause this video if you want to copy this exactly, but to be honest, there's not really much outside of what you would use in a normal Vue form. So each item has a label and an input. So we have a username, password confirmation, and the email address. So they're what we're going to grab. So as I say, if you want to pause this video and if you want to type this out, or if you're just following along, fine. So we now you notice we have V models on these. So we need to create a data part of the script tag here. Now, as you can see, I've bound them to a form object. So that just means I can keep other aspects of the data outside of the form if need be. And the form is the only thing that we actually submit. So we have a username, a password, confirmation, and email. Okay, so we'll default them to null. What we will need to do is just put a npm. I'll just bring up a watch here so that it compiles the changes we make. Okay, so I can leave that to run. Okay, so what else do we need? Well, we're going to need to obviously do something with this form once it's set up. So let's create a method. And I don't know, let's call it submit. Okay, so in order to submit this, we need to send a request to the server. Now, I've done a bit of trial of error with this, and initially you may be thinking, oh, okay, this is where we start using inertia. It's been a bit since I did this, and I remember at the time there was it just didn't work as well, and I ended up going back to a traditional Axios request, like a post. I would like to make it work with inertia, but maybe it doesn't. I don't know. So let's find the documentation here. Requests. So there's a number of requests to choose from. This inertia visit, this inertia replace, this inertia reload, post. So I would have thought it was this one, and I do vaguely remember trying this at the time. So let's try. I'm not sure it'll work because as I say on my code I'm copying from another test project, I didn't use this, I just used Axios, but you know, let's give it a go. Maybe I did something wrong last time. So this inertia post, so we need to put in a URL, so that can be register, that's a typical Laravel endpoint. So the data is this form here. So I just like to go this dot form, and I think these are all optional. I'll leave them in as the defaults, but I think they're all optional now. Does it redirect? Tell you what, let's just save that. So it's compiling now. Let's just try it. So if I go to register, okay. So it hasn't actually compiled. No errors. But it's not showing my form. Okay, just want to check. So I'm obviously in the Deuteros app. In here, so this is pages auth register. It doesn't seem to be recompiling. So it is recompiling there. Oh, okay. Property or method register is not defined on the instance but referenced during render. Oh, I've called it submit, but the original code was register. Okay. Oh. Okay. We just need to put a little bit of Tailwind styling in this, so you'll know that we install Tailwind as a dependency. So very quickly, this equals flex col. I think that'll do it. Okay, let's just shrink the page. Let's give this a width of 64. I think that's the biggest I can give it, and then put a margin either side of the same size. So that should help us out. Yeah. And let's just put a background on that. And a shadow. Okay. This is not ideal at all, but it's just giving us an idea of at least some visual clues to what we need to do. Okay, we can tidy this up later. It seems to be okay. Username, password. Oh, that should really be username, password confirmation. Okay, and email. Okay, so we've got our console up here. So let's see what happens when we fill this in. So just going to put the traditional password in there, and me at example.com. Click register, And now, so Inertia has thrown up a modals because Inertia JS by default doesn't really do modals. So if it throws one up, it's normally because we've called it wrong or there's an error. Now, the very fact that there's nothing there suggests there's not a server error. However, it looks like we do have some kind of front end error, or possibly the data passed back to the front end isn't valid. Looking at that code there, you can see that. So that looks like the data that's come back isn't valid. So, okay, let's see what we can do about that. Let's see if we can... Is my other terminal up? Yeah, okay. Let's just see if anything comes up in the terminal. Okay. So let's try that again. Oh, that's why it didn't load earlier. I must have had two versions of it up. Right, let's get rid of that. Okay. I don't need that one either. Okay. So let's reload that. And... Oh, okay. Oh. Oh! Oh, it did register because it then redirected us to home. Ah, that's where the error was. So the registration actually was fine. Okay, let's yeah, it was logged in now because it doesn't say log out as an option. Ah, okay. Let's load a incognito window. Let's bring up the inspector and so need to check this as well. Oh, okay, so that hasn't changed, but we get that error. Ah, okay. So that didn't change. Does that have to be a minimum? No. Okay. Okay, well, let's work with this then, because we need to put logout systems in place. So this has taken us to the page home. Now, if you go into, I think is it logging controller, the home is this page here in the root service provider, and it's this variable. So as you can see in the root service provider, which is in app providers root service provider, we have this constant here, home /home. Now, I don't really want that as the home page. You know, I want a page, but I don't want it as /home. It's a bit sort of admin panel-esque. I'd rather have something like you could have something like base, or yeah, let's stick with base for now. Let's stick with base. So yeah, the problem is I need to log it out now. I don't know how to quickly log out a session, so let's just go to the home page. So that's still going to go to home, isn't it? Yeah. So if I go to base, not found, okay. So if we look at the home controller, that returns the view to home. and that is here. So we can just add another one here. Base controller. Yeah, and name equals base. Now what we'll do is just comment this out, because if I try to do this, there's no errors. Okay, if I try to do that, now create the controller, it'll complain that there's a root with no matching controller, even though that's the controller I'm trying to make. So base controller. Now, yeah, no, that's fine. Oh, didn't put artisan in there. Yeah. So we now have a base controller. Index, isn't it? So we can just simply return. Now, normally we'd be tempted to return view, but as we learned in the registration page, it's return inertia render, and then we load the page. So we'll just do base, and we won't pass any data for now here. Yeah, let's see if that works. Oh, we need to uncomment the root. Okay, so cannot find module base. That's fine, because we haven't created the view file, have we? So now in pages we can just go new base. Let's just put a title in there. Base, yeah, so that's fine. So we have that. Now, one thing you can do with I want to be able to log out. So just bear with me 1 second, because I want to find an option to log out. Oh, I see. We have to post. Okay, we have to post a logout request. So what we can do, what Inertia allows us to do, is assign a layout to our files. So we can say layout is layout. I think that's how we do it. Let's have a look. Let's talk amongst yourselves. Yeah, okay. So let's see, pages. Let's do inside the JS folder, let's do a directory called layouts. Now, in reality, we're probably only really going to use the one, but you never know. It might sort of shift to another part of the game where it makes more sense to use another layout with different features. You know, that's possible, I suppose. So yeah, so what we can do in here, let's just briefly again schema. I don't want to spend a lot of time with the HTML and styling at this point, so I just want to very quickly get some stuff in here. Let's see, let's throw a nav in here, and let's just quickly for speed's sake, throw a button in here that says logout, and let's assign a click to that. A click equals logout. So we need to put a method in there. And here we do send a, can we send an inertia post again? You know, let's try it. If it doesn't work, we'll just put a normal Axios one in. But it would be good to get this working if we could. So where's my base? No, main. That's the one. So let's slash logout. We don't really send any parameters with that. I'll leave the default in, I think. Yeah. So I'm hoping Laravel will redirect us on the logout. Oh, we need to assign now this layout to a page. So let's go to the base page. So import layout from, so we need to go out one, that takes us out of pages, so yeah, into layouts, main, and then I think is that it, or do we have to add it as a component? I think we have to add it as a component. No, let's leave it as a layout. Maybe we don't. Maybe that was me getting it wrong. Let's reload that. So we're in the base file, but it's come up with logout, which is in the main file, which is what we're using as the layout. Right. So now yeah, this doesn't show the base file because we need to route through to the base file as well. So again, let's just put a main in there and then a slot, and that's it. That slot basically says whatever the original file we intended to go for, in this case the base file, inject into that slot there. So but we still keep the layout around it, including that button. So hopefully it should say logout and base. Yes. Okay. So that means that the the layout has worked because that's bringing this in, but the base file specific content for this page has worked as well, which is for this file. So we now have our logout method. Let's see if that works. Now that's worked, but as you can see, it's redirected us to a modal, not a clean window. So do I have to do it as an Axios post? Let me just see if tinkering with these. Oh, actually we need to register now, don't we? So let's go back here. So let's try and register. At least we've logged out. If we reload that page. Oh, we've not put authentication on that route. So does that route need middleware? I think. No, seems to be. Yeah, it's weird that, because if I reload the base file, it should be logging me out, but if I go to her home page, it shows me logged out. So I think using the inertia post is not really working. Let's try it here. So let me okay. So this time it's worked and it has redirected me, and that was with the inertia post. So there must have been an error before. So I'm now logged in. If I click logout, so it says I'm not logged in because it's loading the home page in a modal. Is there an error with that? View app not found. The 28th. Yeah, that was yesterday's error, wasn't it? Okay. So no error. So the register works. False, true, false. False, true, false. But the logout doesn't. Let's see what Laravel does on a logout. I think is that on the login method. I can't remember where that route is. Okay, so logout is login controller logout. Okay. So it is login controller. So buried deep in one of these traits will be the logout. Must be this one. Let's do a search for it. Yeah, okay. So so yeah, it does. So if request wants JSON, so I wonder if we have to put that in a header. Okay. So headers. I wonder if that's what it is. I think that's it, isn't it? Okay, log out again. No. Okay, let's log in. Oh, we don't have login, do we? Let's quickly do that. So again, I'll just copy a brief form. So let's create a login file in the auth folder. So new view component login add. Okay. Similar form, except we just have a username, and so now we just need to put a data section in here. it's just username and password. Okay, so again, we're going to create a method. So this is the one from the other site. This inertia post, login, this form, false, false, false. Missing import statement. No, I think we're good. I think we're good with that. Oh no, we have got an error. Unexpected keyword this. Methods. Oh, I didn't put it inside the login. There we go. I'll call that submit. Submit. Okay. So let's see if we can log in. Did I... Oh. So login controller. We need to do the same here as we did with the registration form. So public function show login form, and then again just return the inertia instance, and then run the method render, set the folder, well, the file in the folder, and we don't need to pass any data at this time. Okay, let's try that. Yes, so we have our username. So I know one was admin, password. Okay, so that hasn't worked. I suspect I think that's to do with this here. For some reason this never seemed to work for me. I always have to set it like this. So public function username return username. Let's see if that works. Yeah, see, that's worked. And that logs us in. And then it's the logout that isn't working. Okay, so which was the login in? That was in main, wasn't it? So this is the Axios one. Let me just comment that out. So we post a logout, so we obviously get a response, but then we manually force the redirect to the index page here. Let's use this, but we do need to install Axios. So npm I let me just pause the video while this is on. Okay, so that's installed. Let's just check that the login and logout work now. So if I log out, oh, Axios is not defined. Do I have to do an import for that? Oh yeah. So let me run npm watch. Okay, so hopefully this will work now. Okay, so yeah, so that logs us out and redirects us. It is a shame inertia's not worked there. I would have liked inertia to work. Maybe somebody knows how I need to do that. Looks like I must have done it wrong. I'm sure inertia is the way to do it. But anyway, so that works. We know we can register. We know we can log in. We know we can log out. So we now have a basic user system in place. Okay, let's end the video there. We've been going for about 40 minutes now, so I think that's long enough just to get a simple login system working. So hopefully we can develop on this now in the next videos. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want to continue to see these videos. Thank you.